We are here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to Business Rockstars. The entrepreneur of entrepreneurs is with us, Daymond John, CEO of Fubu and Shark Group. But let's talk about the book. The Power of Broke.
The Power of Broke.
What is the Power of Broke?
The Power of Broke is...
Can I borrow $10?
Yeah, the Power of Broke is, can I borrow $10? Can I use my my relationship capital? Can I use OPM, other people's money, manufacturing, marketing, mind power, mentors? Can I use all the assets I have in front of me because I don't have money? And how am I going to get to where I want to be without any money? And that's what it is. And I didn't put it in the book just myself. I put in there 15 well-known CEOs, social media people, people like Rob Dyrdek with Fantasy Factory, or Kevin Plank, the owner of Under Armour, doing $4 billion a year, but he didn't have enough money to pay a toll when he was crossing the bridge when he started Under Armour, so he had to get a ticket. Those are the individuals I put in there because I didn't get struck by lightning. It's something that you just have to have in you.
And there is a certain power to being broke, to borrow your book, because it makes you work, right?
It makes you hustle.
There's no power in being born on third base.
Well, absolutely, but even not being born on third base, let's look at an athlete who gets to master a craft from 8 years old up to 20-something years old. They have $100 million, right? It comes from, it doesn't mean they're not a hard worker because they busted their butt. They can run any play, and they're the best physical individual you'll ever see.
Right.
But they get $100 million. Over 60% of them were bankrupt 3 years outside of retiring the league because they didn't understand how to use the tool of money. And that's what happens. You become broke.
I didn't use the word hate, but I hate it when people say he's an overnight success.
Right.
There's really there's no such thing, right, as an overnight success.
Robert Herjavec says it all the time. Every overnight success has taken 15 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It just doesn't happen like that. I mean, you learn a skill set, you get knocked down way more than you'll ever get the yeses of the world, and then you learn to monetize it at some point or another. Or somebody taps into you and says, we're going to monetize this one way or another.
Right. I always tell my son, who's a music producer, I say, keep saying yes until someday you can say no.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And that's the way that you get ahead. Tell me about this presidential appointee. You're an ambassador?
Yes, the president, President Obama, and the White House and Secretary of Commerce Penny Pritzker has assigned me to be an ambassador, a global, a presidential ambassador for global entrepreneurship. Myself and about 20 others, everybody from Tory Burch to Steve Case to Brian Chesky of Airbnb. And you know, our job is we travel with the president as well, but you know, it's places like Kenya and to Cuba, and we're out there to let people know domestically and abroad 3 separate things. Number one, how you can now empower yourself with your cell phone and make a couple of dollars if you need to, right? And what we see there is that when somebody doesn't have hope and they can't feed their family, what do? They let other people sometimes prey on them and say, well, go do this, pick up this gun, pick up this for us, and we'll take care of you. And people want to feed their families. And when they know that they can empower themselves, they're less likely to do things that aren't in the best of all of our interests. So number one, you can do this. Number two, show them how they have access to capital. Microfunding, microloans, something like, you know, things of that nature. And number three, inspire them and give them also a couple of tools on how to get to that from starting point A all the way to starting to the finish line of Z. And that's our job domestically and abroad, and it's been amazing, and we've been seeing so many great people out there around the world that really want to feed their family but also want to change lives also.
Now there's such things called Shark Tools. What are they?
Well, Shark Tools are on my site. It's just things that I've seen around the world that I can offer to people that are whether free or things I've vetted out, because unfortunately, the bad guys and the bad girls are working twice as hard to take the everyday person's money who's an entrepreneur. And that's why I wrote The Power of Broke, because I don't want to see people out there saying, I need a $50,000 website. Oh my God, I need to buy an advertising campaign. No, you don't. You need to sell one thing, and you need to open up a Facebook or Twitter or something like that, create your community. And if you can't sell one thing, then you're not going to be able to sell 1,000 of them if you get inventory.
Create a community, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We are here to do just that, to inspire, inform, and create a community of entrepreneurs. This is Business Rockstars. I'm Pat O'Brien. Daymond John is our guest. You know, it's such an interesting job being an entrepreneur, because you kind of work for yourself, but then you kind of don't.
Correct.
And you need people around you.
Yeah.
And you have people around you, but how do you pick those people?
You know, that's very hard. right? And everybody
It's like
looks
picking a
at
jury.
Yeah, everybody thinks of, oh, you're being a boss, and you're just the person to say, everybody wants to point at the boss as being somebody who just has this power. No, you don't. You're somebody who's making $10, and you say to yourself, you know what? I can make 15 if I give somebody 3 of these dollars right here. So you're depending on somebody else. So you're supposed to listen to them just as much as they listen to you. I am somebody who has a whole bunch of, I'm Batman, I have a whole bunch of Robins around me, and I become Robin as well to them. Now, how do you pick these people? Well, first of all, you have to do a list of your assets and, your liabilities, right? Your assets are what feeds you, your liabilities are what eats you. Assets and liabilities can be the things that you do best, and then the other things you need to outsource. Right? There's over 28 million small businesses in this country, which create 50% of our revenue in this country, and about 25 million of them are one-man and two-woman mom and pop shops, right? So everything needs to be outsourced, right? So you have to find people that can do the job at the cheapest price. Actually, to be very honest, through my company over the last 20 years, majority of my staff started off as interns because they had a passion to come into the business. They busted their butt, they proved their worth. Nowadays, they have to be college and they get college credits, but they moved up. And I want a person who's ready to bust their butt, and they don't care about the money, and the money then will happen.
Daymond John's our guest, never been in trouble much, right?
Right, never.
When you move into fashion and other parts of the industry, is it tough to move out of that? Move out, let's say move away from fashion.
Yeah.
Is it the same business acumen?
The fundamentals are always the same in business. There's 2 ways to deal with your customers and run your company. There's 2 ways to deal with your company. Decrease costs or increase sales. There's 3 ways to acquire customers no matter what. Find a new customer, upsell a current one, or let a customer buy something more frequently. Those are the fundamentals. You need to work on 50 or 20 or 30% margins, whatever it is in the business. You need distribution, you need pipelines, and you need marketing, and marketing has to be a certain expense. All of that is the same. You have to find communities, though. If you don't find communities, you don't have a business.
And the marketing possibilities now are great. For example, your book, The Power of Broke, if you text the Shark 4222, right?
Yeah, text the Shark to
44222,
and you'll get a free chapter of the book, right? And these possibilities out there, that doesn't cost me any money, right? And if somebody
make you
doesn't,
money.
of course, if somebody doesn't like the chapter, they say, good, I didn't waste my money. If somebody likes the chapter, they say, all right, I want to look into it more.
I'm going to go buy the book. It's the Shark 44222, which is kind of like a New York taxi number, but we won't get into that. What's next for you?
You know what's next for me? I still am dedicating myself to Shark Tank. We're going and we're shooting our 8th season. These people, it's our real money. They're allowing us to participate in their dreams. So I know that I have at least 10 years of running these companies. We're relaunching Fubu in a social media way where people can buy it online. Fubu, my other brand's Kuji. And I'm also starting to open up more like a co-work shared space. I think that we don't need these big offices anymore. So if somebody's in the middle of wherever, Detroit, and their wife wants to create a lotion company, she doesn't have to take up the house. Come over here to a company that I have where you can be part of like-minded entrepreneurs and you can get your company up and going. You don't have the house filled with lotion. So
yeah, I mean, that corner has been turned a long time ago.
Yeah.
And now people, I think, like you, are just now figuring it out.
Yeah.
That you can do whatever you do, wherever you want.
We don't need to be constrained to anything. And I've met over the last 2 years, I believe over 180 people that started a business within 1 year off their cell phone, and they're doing more than $1 million off their cell phone.
How do people do that? And that's not a dumb question.
Well, first of all, you go and you build a site like I'm on a platform called Shopify. So that means anybody can buy off my platform. Then you find products and then you create this story around it. So whether you're a fitness guru who's always talking about how to lose weight, or you're somebody talking about recipes and things of that nature, you have a social media following of 100,000, 200, 1 million people. Half of 1% to 1%, if you can convert them every week on a sale, then you can make money. Now, it's much easier than, it's much easier saying that than doing it, but you have to create that community. And we see it all the time. Every time you go on to social media, look at a DJ Khaled with 10 million people viewing him a day. He's making more money now than any time he's ever made in records. But we see it all day with models, with therapists, with trainers. You go on there, you'll see people and they have 50,000 people. How are you going to sell them something? Because those people are more influential than the celebrities. If
Exactly.
you're a celebrity who has 40 million people following you, let's say Kim Kardashian, 10 million are girls that love her, 10 million are girls that hate her, 20 million are guys with trench coats and lollipops in their mouth, right? But if you're somebody who has 1,000 people following you and you're not on a public platform, 90% of them love you for you and they want to buy something from you.
Does it frustrate you that people don't always find that power? The power of broke?
It frustrates me that I've seen many people come to me and say, you know what, please take my company. I'll give you 10,000, I'll give you 20,000. People think that you or I or anybody successful in business, we have this secret that we're holding back from everybody. And then the con artists out there in the world say, go mortgage a house, give me $100,000. I'm going to make this all
the secret
perfect.
is talent.
The secret is talent and hustle.
Right. I like that, David.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much. We are here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. I'm Pat O'Brien. He's Daymond John. Fubu for life, right?
Fubu, baby.
Business Rockstars. See you next time. We are here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. This is Business Rockstars. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to the show. We got a real rock star today, Daymond John. Is there anything you don't do?
I don't know these days. I don't know.
Shark Tank.
I don't play golf.
Neither do I.
All right,
it takes
good.
too
Good
much
man.
time. Too much time.
I like the way you started off.
And by the way, if you, I learned to play with Sugar Ray Leonard.
Yeah.
We always look good.
Uh-huh.
We can never play good. Shark Tank, Fubu is the best thing. I mean, that's for us, by us. How'd you start Fubu?
You know, I started Fubu, well, first of all, I started Fubu the first time in '89. I closed it down 3 times until 1992 because I ran out of capital. But I started it with a couple of T-shirts and just putting it in videos. I was frustrated because, you know, so many people there were rumors. Donna Karan doesn't make things for African Americans. Tommy Hilfiger doesn't like rappers. Ralph Lauren doesn't like inner city kids. I know those designers now, and it was just a rumor.
Right.
But Timberland had put a comment in the paper, said, we don't sell our boots to drug dealers. And I was buying a bunch of Timberlands, and I wasn't a drug dealer. I also wasn't a mountain climber or a hiker. I was buying them for the fashion, like Kids
Or a
by
golfer.
Jordans, or a golfer, right? So I said, who's ever gonna love the audience that buys it? And I'm gonna create something, not of a color, but of a culture, because I didn't want to be prejudiced, just like Timberland. And lo and behold, the first place that started to buy it, I started to get mail. That's when we had physical mail. Were Seattle, Washington, and Japan. It was the kids who were like grunge and skateboarding in Seattle, Washington. It was the kids who loved break dancing and hip hop in Japan.
Yeah. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
I did. I always
Really?
wanted to be. I always wanted to be in charge of my own destiny. But you know, I started out being an entrepreneur when I was 6, selling pencils and pens, and I went all the way through. And then I realized it wasn't as easy to become a millionaire as I thought, because I had a plan. By the time I was 18, I was going to be a millionaire. I was going to buy crash cards for $3,000, put $2,000 in them, and sell them for 10. Right? So if I did that a bunch of times, then get to 3 and 4 a month, I'd be a millionaire.
Right, 50 times.
Well, yeah. Mike Tyson had this whole saying, everybody has a plan until they get punched in the face. And life punched me in the face right around 18, 19, and I was broke working at Red Lobster.
What was your first job, the pencils?
I went through everything. I was selling pencils when I was 10.
But selling was your thing, right?
It was always selling.
Yeah.
Always. I would sell pencils. I would then go during the winter, I would go and shovel snow in the neighborhoods near mine, and then tell them that if I could shovel the snow 3 times, then I would give them a free spring cleaning, and then I would go and hire the kids and let them do the spring cleaning, and I would just leverage that, and I would hand out flyers or go work in any kind of food store I could.
Daymond John's our guest, and that's kind of the lesson of being an entrepreneur, right? Is to continue to reinvent yourself.
Absolutely.
So to speak.
Yeah, even we're people are always going to pigeonhole us and think that we can only do something,
Exactly.
Right? And even getting on to Shark Tank, people thought I could only just make clothes, hip hop clothes, that baggy clothes at that.
Right.
And then when you get on the Shark Tank and people start to see that business
skill.
doesn't have a color,
Right.
business doesn't have a sex or religion. Business has a skill, and when you start to apply the fundamentals of business to other industries, it just becomes easier and easier.
Fubu is such an amazing, right out of the box success. Why?
You know what, I think we call Fubu the original hashtag of clothing lines. I think that we tapped into a social network that didn't exist on a major platform at that time. It was this music-inspired culture that people weren't able to talk about what was going on in the hip-hop community. So our form of Twitter and Snapchat was music videos and things of that nature. So now all of a sudden people wearing this uniform, Fubu, within this music that they're spreading this information. And that really was what started us to become very popular to individuals out there.
We are here to inspire, inform, and connect the community of entrepreneurs. I'm Pat O'Brien. This is Business Rockstars. Daymond John is here, who's more successful than, when you talk about being an entrepreneur, you're in so many things.
Yeah.
Is that part of the deal for you? Or is that ego?
No, that's
by
part.
the way, ego's good, by the way.
Oh, no, ego is great, but ego, first of all, you have to be realistic that you're going to get knocked down and that every industry you jump into, somebody has been mastering it for a long time and many people have failed at it.
Right.
So you look at Shark Tank, I thought that, going on Shark Tank, and the first 3 seasons I lost money because I thought I can just approach everything the same way.
8 years later?
8 years later, I started making money when I surrounded myself with the experts around me that understood that industry, and I knew when to be the boss and be the teacher or when to be the student around my, my staff. And that's when you start being able to grow, when you realize you don't know everything.
So you got to watch the right guys.
You absolutely have to watch the right people. The people who move very quiet, the people who aren't really loud about what they do, but they're just moving through it in and out, and they're getting up before everybody, and they're going to sleep after everybody.
What describes you, Daymond, as an entrepreneur? What's the one word? Energetic, inspirational, compassionate.
Student. Willing to learn.
Yeah.
That's it. I am. Every day I'm learning, I'm on a quest, and I'm taking all that information, I'm applying it to my everyday life. I think I learned the most off of Shark Tank. Not only do I learn from the 4 of the bozos that are sitting next to me that think they know things.
I'll tell Mark that.
I tell them myself all the time. But I learn from these new young entrepreneurs who are doing business a whole new way. They're 18 years old. They're touching the entire world with their smartphone. They're converting money. They don't need retail anymore. I'm learning from them. I'm applying it to my business as well.
What's a typical day for you? Or is there a typical day?
There is not really a typical day. Well, you know what? I probably wake up about 9. I read my goals. I try to work out. I go to an office or I travel to someplace. I'm on the road 280 days. I don't stay in a city more than maybe 12 to 18 hours. I'll go and do whatever event, speak, check on a company. By 12 o'clock at night, China's opening up, and I'm dealing with all those individuals, and then I am doing emails up until 2 in the morning. Read my goals, going to bed, back to bed 3, 4 o'clock, and repeat it all over.
The good news and bad news about being international is A, you're international, but B, they're on a different time zone.
Yeah, you don't sleep. Everybody's on it. So out here in California, the phone starts ringing really, really early.
Really early?
Yeah.
You can turn it off.
New York, they can't turn that thing off. What are you talking about?
I know, you're exactly right. People said, get rid of your phone for a day. Really? You get rid of your phone for a day.
Get rid of your life for a day. You know what? Before this, we had to sit in an office from 9 to 5, chained to a desk. Now I can sit here and hang out with you. Maybe I'll take some calls on the beach as well.
When you hire people, what do you look for?
Well, I look for people who are problem solvers. I look for people who know they have a team obligation. And yes, I will acknowledge and understand that if you can do your team obligation, your specific obligation, then maybe we can start something else together in the future, because people want recognition more than they want money or sex. And it's actually, there's studies on that. So those are the type of people I want around me.
Nobody like that here.
You know what I always ask people when I interview them, when was the last thing that happened to you after you were 15 years old, beyond your control?
That's a good point. When you motivate your staff, or how do you motivate your staff?
I think I motivate
Success,
them.
Right?
I motivate them. Of course, they have to be monetarily compensated, but I usually motivate them by letting them take charge of the lane they're in and letting them make those mistakes and not penalizing them for them making mistakes. Many people that work for corporations, and I'm not a corporation, I'm a family business as far as I'm concerned, they don't get rewarded for anything that, when they hit their numbers, and they get penalized for when they try.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane. And I don't want people doing that. Yes, if you're going to be an accountant or a bookkeeper in my company or an attorney, you're going to need to have a history there. But if not, it's fluid. You can move. I don't care if you had a branding or a marketing degree, you can move over to design and things of that nature. I just need the energy there.
We are here to inspire, inform, and connect a community of entrepreneurs. I'm Pat O'Brien. This is Business Rockstars. Back in a minute.